Welcome to It Just Got Real TV. I'm your host, Pearl J. and Chicali. And we've got Michael Coleman from Reno, Nevada with us today. And we're going to be digging into his music career, where he's been, where he's going, what's hot, what's not, and the beat don't stop. All right. So, Michael, please give everybody a little bit of an introduction of how you got started in the music industry.
Well, basically it handed down to me from a family trait, from my grandfather to my dad to my oldest brother down to me. I'm the only one who pursued it as a career, okay? And as, you know, going through the stages and learning to play in the whole 9 yards, in 1983 was the first time I got a chance to say be the real professional. That's when I first went on the road. I joined the Archie Bell Band in 1985. And that getting some road experience prior to then, you know, was really, really helpful. I feel like once that bug bit me, bro, there was no turning back. There was no turning back. I knew at that point in time that that was exactly what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And that has led me from the Archie Bell Band, led me to working with the Impressions, Curtis Mayfield's Impressions. And that, to me, was a true learning experience, you know, because them brothers are not only spiritual within their own right, they just had just so much knowledge that they were able to pass on, you know, which helped me be able to expand and continue on from there, you know. And like I said, from then on, I worked with Clarence Carter, you know, for a while, and Clarence was the toughest gig I think I ever had, you know, because when he wants you to do chink, 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 that's what he wants, and you sway from that. What's up? Hey, boy, hey, you know, and yeah, he got ears like you would never believe, you know.
So let me ask, how old were you when you first started playing the guitar?
9 years old.
You were 9 years old. What inspired you to start playing the guitar?
From watching my family, and I would just sit there and I'd be just kind of like, and just so locked in and just intrigued. And then my oldest brother, basically, he was working with a couple of different bands throughout that period of time. And whenever he'd leave home, I'd sneak and practice on his guitar, you know. And it was so interesting. He and I got a chance to talk about this a couple of years ago, but I would sneak and play his guitar, and particularly one day, he came home early, and he busted me, you know? I couldn't say that because, I mean, that particular day, he busted me, and he yelled at me for a minute, you know, but he told me, he said, if you're going to practice, you're going to play it, just put it back in the case, you know, because this particular time, I laid it down because I had to go to the restroom, you know, because I didn't expect him to come back early, you know.
Right.
So when he came back early, he busted me. Like I said, he yelled at me for a minute, but it was all good, you know. Yeah. And looking back on them days now, I mean, it was just, you know, my parents bought me first chord book, and bought me my little first acoustic guitar, and I never put it down.
Oh man!
I never put it down.
So that was your passion, you know?
Yeah.
And so let me ask you, what did it take for you to realize that this is it, this is what I'm gonna do, and it ain't no looking back?
Once I went on the road for the first time, because I had been so locked into I went to high school in the Midwest, so you basically only just sing that surrounding the people. But by the time I got a chance to go on the road, I began to see that there were so many different lifestyles, you know, of folks, so many different attitudes, so many different ways of life, you know, with folks. And that just fascinated me big time. I even wrote a song called Culture to Culture, you know, and it basically surrounding, you know, meeting people with different nationalities, you know, and you know, understanding their way of life, you know, and allowing them to understand mine. So that interaction, you know, that more than the music, I think just appealed to me big time. And I loved it, and always still will love it, you know.
I feel like I'm with the legend. and you know what, ever since you started talking, you got me with the smile.
Thank you.
I love music.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I host a program
Okay.
on a radio station called Soul Days Radio,
Okay.
and we focus on lowrider music, but mainly classics. So we love
Okay.
Archie Bell.
Yes, sir.
We love the
Yes,
Impressions.
sir. Yes, sir.
You know, we love soul music, R&B.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, sir.
And so just sitting here, having the chance to interview
Yeah,
you, it's
yeah.
a real pleasure, it's an honor.
Man, it's my
So we
pleasure
thank
as
you.
well. It's my pleasure.
And
My pleasure.
so now you're still in music,
Yeah.
you're still playing,
Mhm.
9 years old.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something.
Sure.
You started seeing family members playing.
Yeah.
You got a book from your parents.
Mhm.
Is that something that you had to learn? Or was it just something that was in your blood?
Well, I think it was kind of in my blood, but getting that book and understanding more about the guitar itself helped out tremendously, you know.
So having a desire
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
was half the battle.
Exactly, exactly. And I think that they saw that, and so that was what inspired them to, you know, if he's gonna take this seriously, then, you know, we need to give him the tools that he's gonna need to elevate and expand from there.
So you took a risk and you started, you know,
Yeah.
taking your brother's guitar.
Yeah, yeah.
He busted you, but then
He busted me.
he supported you.
Oh yeah, still does to this day.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, yeah.
And when you started touring, if you
Mhm.
will,
Mhm.
that's all it took.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I can tell you the first time I went to New York, you know, and you see
I'm-
Times
I'm getting
Square,
chills
yeah, you
just-
see Times Square, you know, and you see all these buildings and so forth. You see all this stuff on TV and in magazines, but now here you are, literally right in the middle of it, and I mean, I'm like, I can't believe this, you know. But it was so nice. I mean, the people there, they talk about New York being one of the highest crime rates, you know, and so forth. And I mean, I'm sure it does, but even talking to a lot of the people there, they said, you know, every city on this earth, in this country, there's a certain area of town that you just don't fool around in,
Mm-hmm.
period. No matter where you are.
Mhm.
There's a certain part of town that you just don't mess around in. And New York is no different. You know, I mean, I walked through the streets of Harlem just like I would walk through the streets out here in Reno.
Mhm.
You know, and it was just, I mean, nobody bothered me.
Mhm.
You know, I had my guitar on, you know, they had the strap on the back of my guitar, and I'm walking through Times Square and walking through, you know, through different areas of town, and again, I didn't worry about it. I didn't feel fearful, you know. I rode the subway,
Mhm.
nobody bothered me,
Right.
you know. So I mean, some of the folks there, they said that they too busy trying to get their lives and get to where they need to get to than be bothering me
Mhm.
or anybody for that matter, you know.
Right.
So it really kind of changed my whole perspective about New York, you know. So from like
Mhm.
84 through 99, I was in and out of New York at least 3 times a year,
Wow.
you know.
That's
And
amazing.
I got a chance. I have a lot of friends there now. I have family there, you know, and it just gave me that better insight to be able to, you know, go around, get a chance to see the city for what it really was, and enjoy it. And I will treasure that experience for the rest of my life. you
Well,
know.
it's like everything, right, brother? If you go anywhere, if you mind your own business, it's all good. But if you're gonna go out there running amok and you're looking for
Well, of
trouble, you're
course.
gonna find
it's
it, right?
gonna come. It's gonna come.
Yeah.
You ain't gotta worry about things. Believe you me, it will find you.
My brother, so it's like everything, right? I mean, it's a blessing when you find what you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's got its ups and downs, right?
Absolutely.
Is it all crimson and clover, or is there some challenges?
No, I will never in a million years tell anybody that every day was peachy and keen. you
Right.
know?
What were some of the challenges that you would think exist in a musician's life?
You got-
Not to mention probably
No.
not getting along probably all the time with
Right,
with
right. With some of your band members and bandmates, of course, yeah. But I mean, you got to deal with the folks you want. You begin to understand why security is so heavy because you get people that are pickpockets. You know, there was one instance, you know, where we were robbed. You know, I mean, you don't ask for these things, but these situations happen. You know. And you just have to just kind of prepare yourself emotionally, mentally, and everything to deal with that kind of thing, you know. Breaking down on the highway, you know. If you ever watch the 5 Heartbeats when they, you know, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that kind of stuff is real.
Real.
Yeah.
You know, that is real, and it
That's one of
happens,
my favorite shows.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, cops get pulling you over and you getting basically labeled for something. All you trying to do is get to work or get to where you're trying to get to, and you got to get harassed by them. So those are a lot of the downfalls that I don't think there's a musician on this earth that hasn't had to deal with that at one time or another. You know?
Right. Do you have a following or a group of individuals who you guys are working with, the next generation, if you will?
Yeah, you can say that, of course, yeah.
Because I gather it's important to keep your music alive.
Oh, very much so.
Your music
very much
alive.
so, very much so, yeah. And we, with Musical, one of the things that I try to always do is try to keep the show fresh.
Right.
You know, I've seen bands a lot of times where you go in there and they play the exact same thing. You can literally set your watch by what they're going to play next. You know, and that was one thing I literally refused to do with us. You know, because that element of surprise to me is the best. You know, and whenever we can go somewhere and we can have our shows and people are kind of like, well, what they gonna do now? When they gonna play that? You know, so I've heard them play this song, but are they gonna do it the same way they did it before? No, you know. So we try to keep it fresh in that aspect, and that's one of the things that I think that has made us popular, because the people, they always are. They know that they're gonna get something caught off guard with them every time they see us. You know.
How do people book you? How do you guys get the word out? How do you guys?
Marketing, I think, is the best way. I mean, before you used to be able to send packets out and promo packs and that kind of thing. Well, now the websites and emails and social media can take care of a lot of that. And then again, word of mouth. You know, it's been a many times when people have come to our shows and they have said that somebody had told them about us and blah blah blah. And
Word of mouth is
and they decided to come and check it out for themselves.
That's for sure.
Exactly. So it's all those kind of little things that kind of keep us out there. You know.
Could you let our audience know how they can reach you?
Oh, absolutely.
If there's a website or
It
maybe
is a
number
website.
that they
Yeah, it's musical89.org. It's MUSICOLE 89.org. I say 89 because 89 was when the musical organization did our first show together.
Nice.
And so that's been a really, really, you know, pivotal moment for me, you know. And so it's musical89.org. There you can see, you know, different clips from the old days, hear a lot of the music, you know, see a few videos, and you just kind of keep up on the schedule and where we're playing, you know, and that kind of thing, so that you can always go to anytime.
That's lovely.
Okay, and so I have a question for you. Out of your whole musical career, is there anything that you would have done different? If so, what would that have been?
You know, in all honesty, I can say no.
All right.
Yeah, because it's all been a true learning experience all the way around. So I can't say that I would have done anything any differently, you know, good or bad. I mean, like I said, it taught me to know what to do, how to do, et cetera, as we were going along. So, in an answer to that, no, I don't think there's anything I would have done any different.
What would you say would be a better way, you know, putting your bands together, you know, as far as, you know, touring and going different places? I know because everybody, you know, has wives, families, kids, and their own personal lifestyles that they want to live. Did you guys ever run into real communication problems because of you guys' different lifestyle?
Big time. From my personal point of view, and an ex-friend of mine told me this one time, ex-lady friend, she said, you don't need to be married. She said, because ain't no woman gonna ever come before your music, you know, and that is the one thing that I think is the hardest for any couple. You know, you hear about folks going through several marriages and relationships and so forth, and I've been through it myself, but that is the one thing that I think that every musician, you know, even though you may love being married, you may love that companionship and so forth, but when you gotta go to work, you know, and a lot of times they don't understand that.
You know, a lot of them don't understand it because just me touring all over the world, and you know, with legendary groups, the Jacksons, everybody you could think of, I done toured with all over the world. Okay, so I see what goes on out
Oh
there.
yeah, oh yeah.
Okay,
oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna say it on camera.
No, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. 'Cause
But
I
yeah,
know.
I know what's going on out there.
Yeah,
And so I
And
definitely.
I would never sit here and tell you, oh no, we don't do that. No.
But I have to say this too. But you do have your good guys, though.
Of course.
You know, they're. But then you have those instigators that also travel with you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, and so I mean, because they even tried to instigate me when I was out there, and I'm like, no, get back.
Yeah.
You know,
And
so-
you know, and that just makes me think of one time we were playing in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And, you know, we go to all of the parties, you know, the after parties and the whole nine. I mean, that was just a part of the, you know, the touring process.
Yeah.
But I remember distinctly one guy, John, when he came up to me and we just sat on the couch like this, and he said to me, he said, man, how do you do it? I said, what do you mean, how do I do it? He said, you got everything in here that you can think of, you know, that you can indulge in. But here you sit here with your Pepsi, you know, and nobody bothered you, you know. And they didn't. Nobody bothered me. He said, man, I have so much respect for you for that, you know. And that really made me feel good because, I mean, I didn't think about it. I'm just here to have a good time like everybody else, you know. But that really made me feel good that he sat and told me that, you know. And he said, man, anything in here that you wanted is right there within hands distance for you to have, you know. But here you are with Pepsi.
Willpower, baby.
Yeah, I wouldn't even look at it like that. You know, I was just, like I said, I was just there to have a good time with everybody else. I didn't look at it like it wasn't nothing I wanted to do or not want to do, but I was just being me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well,
So let me ask you, how hard is it for you having to leave your family behind and be gone?
It's very hard. It's very hard.
You know.
Very hard. I have girls. I have two daughters, and one of the things I missed a lot of their coming up, you know, through high school and so forth, you know, and they indulge and they want to do all of the little proms and school parties and that kind of thing, you know. And I said, okay, I don't have a problem with that, but hey, Daddy got to go to work, you know. I missed graduations, you know, but my youngest daughter, I ended up. I was doing a cruise ship at that time, so I brought her out to join me on the cruise as a graduation present, you know, for her. And my oldest daughter, like I said, we just got a chance. We just cherished our time together, and it was cool. So it's things like that. You may not get a chance to be there for all of the special occasions, but my kids, they understood. They understood, and they knew that whenever I got back home, we finna have a time of our life for however long I'm there. And we did that, and it was cool, you know, and they knew that if anything ever went down, they could call me no matter what. And you know, a lot of times if they just called just to talk, or if there was an issue at the house, you know, they could always call, you know. I paid bills from the road a lot of times, you know, so I mean, it's things like that it really teaches you to be an adult when you're out there.
Conditions you. You know, I understand that because when I was on the road to Cali, I'm just keeping it honest, you know, with you. I would get calls and it's like, hey, you know, next weekend, are you gonna be able to be here for so-and-so's birthday? And I'd be like, I'm gonna be in Australia next weekend. That, you know, and well, when are you gonna have time for the family? I don't know right now because my calendar is full, and it's hurtful, and it makes you feel really super bad when you're out there on the road and your family is putting you on this, like, to me, I felt like it was like a guilt trip. You know what I mean? It was like I was like, you know, when I'm in town, there's nothing going on, you know, and then when I go to visit everybody, they all got everything they gotta go do, you know, and so you're not gonna, oh, well, we was just on our way, and then they're doing all that stuff. But when you're doing something, you know, that you really wanna do, that you have a passion for, and believe it or not, being on the road and on tour is work. It is serious work.
Yes, indeed.
You know what I mean? And everybody thinks that it's like, oh, yeah, we're having fun. It's like sometimes you get off a plane from being on a plane 15, 20 hours on a flight, and then as soon as you get on the ground, before you even get a chance to shower or anything, you're going straight to sound check.
Thank you.
Straight to sound check. You know, the hotel rooms aren't even ready yet until 4 o'clock.
Yep. So if you get a chance to sleep, it'll be in the lobby somewhere.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, I produced and promoted concerts locally, but I never traveled.
Right.
And I love music that
Oh
way.
yeah.
And I worked with a lot of kids as a counselor and with gang members here
Right.
locally. And you guys are blessed, you know, to have had children who respected your jobs and never threw that in your faces, because even though my job wasn't that hectic, I had kids who were like, oh, you would never hear from me, and you know, I paid the bills and did what I had to, and that was very hard to take, you know, because kids tend to throw that in your
Oh,
face.
big time.
You're there for everybody else and not for us. So it's really rewarding to hear that your children, you know, accepted that
like
and
I
loved
said,
you
I
for
won't
that.
say that it wasn't a challenge.
No,
you know,
sure,
I'll never
sure.
say that, but they did. They understood the fact
Of
that
course.
this was my job, and I have to go and do what I need to do.
Amen.
You know.
Amen.
So we still to this day, you know, have a great relationship about it, and it's beautiful. You know.
You said you have 2 daughters.
Yeah.
Are they musicians at all? Did
No,
the
they
two of them
didn't,
followed
no.
your footsteps?
I wish they would have, but no,
Yeah.
they are fans, you know. But as far as following in the footsteps, no, they never did.
Do you have a recording studio in town that you go to? Are you currently in the process of recording anything?
Well, I'm still writing.
Is there an album that's coming out that we can look forward to, maybe going to and supporting you with?
I would say I gave Pearl the last one that we did probably about maybe a year or so ago, give or take. And that was called Talking About You, Talking About Me.
Nice.
Now, I am still writing some new material for the new album.
Okay.
But it is not ready yet, and I would figure, I don't know, probably by the holidays, I would probably have it ready.
Okay.
And a lot of times, I mean, you can have a particular format in your head of what you want to do, and then all of a sudden, your mind will go here, as opposed to go there, you end up finding yourself writing something else, you know, and the tunes that you may have wanted to put, a couple of them may get put on the sides, because you've chosen to do other songs and that kind of thing. So that kind of thing happens. So that's why, and it took me understanding, you know, the process of recording, that kind of thing can happen, you know.
Sure. On the website that we have for your information, is there a particular spot that you guys play on the weekends, or the only places that we can go check you out and support you is where you do your gigs? Or
and no one particular spot anymore. You know, they used to be able to do that, you know, in I'd say 10, 15 years ago, where all of the casinos that you could pretty much go wherever, but they're not doing it anymore. So we, you know, there are certain spots around town, yes, that we do play. So you can probably just look at the schedule and kind of see where we are, but that's no one particular spot anymore, not like it used to be.
Have you guys ever been contracted or participated in Hot August Nights at all?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I kind of figured.
Oh yeah, and we're actually doing that this year as well.
Also.
So, yeah.
Okay, so I'm asking you that way we can make sure we
Sure, because
we keep game and
our
we're ready.
our date then is the 2nd of August, and it'll be at the Reno Public Market, right over here. So yeah, we're there on August 2nd. So yeah.
Nice. How long you been in Reno, and what made you come here?
25 years now, and I literally came here. There was a group that was working here. I don't know if you guys are familiar with RET, but they were doing the show.
RET or RET? Okay, Ray, E1 and Tony.
Exactly. And so you know.
I've been in Reno, brother.
Yeah. But anyway, they were in the process of doing a show in Greenville, Mississippi. And I had just come back to Memphis from Pensacola, Florida. We just kind of like met up at the Greyhound bus station there, you know, totally unplanned, but they saw me with my guitar, and one of the gentlemen that was supposed to be on that show with them didn't make it. So they saw me with my guitar, and most of the time when you contracted with most of these places, if you tell them you got 5 members or 6 members, these places they're pretty strict on that, you know. And so they didn't have that 5th member, so they asked me if I would come and do the show. I was familiar with the casino that they played at, because I played there many times before myself. So I said, okay, yeah, I'll do it. And So that particular week that I was there, it clicked. It did. It went off really well. That was a weekend of the 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that September, they called me, to come out here. They had just landed the gig. It was at the Reno Hilton at that time, which is now GSR. But they had just landed the house gig at the Reno Hilton, so they asked me to come out and do that, and I've been here ever since.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're glad you stayed. I'm sure
Well,
you've been
thank
an
you.
awesome addition to the city.
Thank you.
All right, you heard it right here on It Just Got Real TV. We have Michael Coleman in the studio with us right now. I'm your host, Pearl J, and we have Callie with us in the house,
That's
hosting the show. As always, we'll be right back after this break. We are back. Just Got Real TV. Callie and Pearl J, and we got Michael Coleman in the house in Reno, Nevada, you guys, and we're going to be talking about his hot CD that he has out and about.
Just Got Real TV, baby. That's right. With Michael Coleman. This is the hot spot. And as you can see, CD, baby. Musical. Michael Coleman. This is nice, man.
Thank you.
Talking about you, talking about me.
That's it. That's it.
Hey, man, tell me about this. This is nice.
Well, that again, the concept of again, just in my interactions with people, again, goes back to, like I said, you hear these conversations on every subject matter that you can think of.
I love it.
So I tried to write something, within that same kind of concept, and there the title track is talking about you, talking about me. There's another one that's called Strangers, Me, Myself, and I. Another track that's within the crossroads of my mind. All of the lyrical context within within those songs, they're just not your "I love you, baby, baby, baby" type of thing. You know what I'm saying? It's they all. I want to always write something that will touch folks from the heart. And make them just like what Arsenio used to say. He said, you know what I'm saying? So that's basically the whole concept around that. And again, like I said, the future of what we do will be surrounded around that as well.
All right. And so, what is your favorite song on that CD?
My favorite, I would say Strangers. Strangers, Me, Myself, and I.
Well, we have Me, Myself, and I in the studio with us right now. We're going to play that for our listeners.
Took a look at myself some time ago with a view of my life, and the sight that I see was so unfair. It was so unfair but true. I was put to the test to ask myself, what will you do with your life? Do you like what you see within your mind? Do you really know yourself? The answer that I see seems within my reach. So why am I confused with the life in which I lead? 'Cause we're strangers, you and I. Take a look and see. Put myself to the test with my heart, and I know that you're the one for me, and I can live with myself. I can live with myself, yeah. There's a side of me that I love, makes my world complete. And that side of me is at peace with God. And it seems so very hard to see. It means so much to me to wonder why I see a different side of me, placed so deep within my heart. 'Cause we're strangers, you and I. Take a look and see. Put myself to the test with my heart, and I know that you're the one for me, and I can live with myself. I can live with myself, yeah. Now I don't know what to say or how I feel. What I feel is unreal. Now I can actually say I know myself, but there's one thing that I know, that we're strangers, you and I. Take a look and see. Put myself to the test with my heart, and I know that you're the one for me, and I can live with myself. I can live with myself, yeah. 'Cause we're strangers, you and I.
We are back. Michael, that song is off the chain.
Thank you.
Tell me,
Thank you.
a little
Get
bit
down with
more of what inspired you to write the song.
You know, my brother asked me the same thing recently, and I think that the one thing that inspired me, again, I look back at my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
I think about the things that I've gone through, trials and tribulations, and just growing up as an individual, and I look at myself in the future,
Mm-hmm.
say 10 years from now,
Mm-hmm.
right? The question that I began to ask myself is if say, myself as a teenager walked through that door right now,
Mm-hmm.
would I know that individual?
Mm-hmm.
And I can honestly say, I don't think I would.
Right.
Looking at myself 10 years from now,
Mm-hmm.
if that individual was to walk through that door, would I know that individual?
Right.
No. So that's where the strangers come in, even though it's me, myself, and I, you're talking about yourself, but you look at your life during that time, and what it would probably be like going forward,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's basically the whole concept surrounding that particular song.
All right. Well, if one of our listeners wanted to go out and purchase that song or the CD,
Yeah.
where can they find it?
On the website. Since they don't have music stores or CD stores around anymore, go on the website. Once again, it's musico89.org.
All right.
And you'll be able to look on the link for music, and it'll be right there that you can pick up.
All right. And so it's available for download on
Absolutely.
the website.
Absolutely.
Okay. So now I would like for you to tell our listeners and your followers and your fans,
Okay.
what is something they don't know about you that you want them to know about? Michael Coleman.
That they don't know that I don't put on no face for anybody. That's the one thing, because they look at us as musicians and as entertainers and they only see one side of me. You know, me, Pearl, the person that you see right now is the same person you would have seen yesterday, same person you'll see tomorrow.
Same with me.
You know, I don't have time for those kind of games, you know what I'm saying? So my thing is, a lot of people don't know that about me and don't realize that about me, you know, that I am who I am, you know. If you don't like me, well.
Yeah. So what's your sign?
Virgo.
Virgo. And do you mind sharing your age with everybody?
67.
57?
67.
67. And you don't have a wrinkle nowhere.
I'm
Look
glad
at
to
you.
hear that. I'm glad to hear that. Elder young lady told me one time, little
You
girl
look
told me one
really
time
good
that,
for your age.
yeah, she
I
told
would
me-
have never thought that.
she told me, she said, you gotta tell folks you're 40. I said, I can do that. Yeah.
Well, you
Bless
could pass for it, that's for sure.
Thank
I mean, you know, so, I mean, ain't nothing wrong with that, you
Thank
know?
you so
Look
much.
at your Callie over there. He
Yeah.
he's batting 300 too.
All right.
So, I mean, yeah, it's important that
Yeah.
we take care of ourselves, and
Absolutely.
we're out of time, but I really wanna say thank you so
My
very,
pleasure.
very much for
It's my
being a
pleasure.
guest on Just Got
Yes.
Real TV
My
with
pleasure.
Chicali and Pearl J. And, thank you once again.
I just wanna thank you. You look like a moral superior man. You're very friendly.
Thank
I
you.
love your vibe, your energy.
Thank you.
And just for the record, are you married or not?
I am married. Yes.
Praise God.
Yes,
Thank you
indeed.
so much, and we wish you the best. Thank you
Yes.
for being on the show.
My pleasure.
All
My
right,
pleasure.
and one more time, share that website information.
Okay, it's musiccole89.org. MUSICOLE 89.org.
All right, you
Michael
guys
Coleman.
better support Michael out there.
That's right.
And his band, go get that CD, get that download. Okay, much love. Right here, next week, same time, on Just Got Real TV with Pearl J and Chicali.
When you love someone, it brings you joy, joy to your eyes.